Hey everybody, it's Rockula, and welcome back to Rockula Retrospective. It is Thursday night, the 13th of November, 2014, and it is time for me and my friend Meat Pie here to do the re-review of episode 5, which was called Self-Help.
Yes.
So, we're getting ready for the Sunday night because my friend Meat Pie here has graciously agreed to let us do the live.
Well, let's be honest. My wife has graciously agreed to let us use the new playroom as our studio. Yes.
So we will be able to get over two things. One, we'll have a really cool setting, and two, we're gonna have satellite so that I can both send out a stream and receive, and we'll watch it at the same time, and there won't be any issues with what happened last weekend where I just didn't have enough bandwidth.
Yeah, no, we're good on that. We're good on that. No problem.
So we got the fact that the first thing I want to address was that I was mistaken about the previews for episode 6 in that I thought it was a blonde girl that Daryl was holding, and the reason that happens is when I record the re-review, the full review, I've only watched the episode one more time, and I just didn't have time to digest, and by the time I flashed up the picture, I looked at the picture and I'm like, yeah, that's not a blonde girl. So I was wrong on that.
Yeah.
Well,
because I watched The Talking Dead afterwards, and they show an extended scene, and we see that I was afraid that person wrapped up in the thing was Carol.
Yeah.
Because it was, she's a small person. But then, luckily, I watched The Talking Dead, and the extended scene there shows that, no, Carol walks up next to him. Mm-hmm. And so whoever that is, she says something like, she's like, thank you for that. Or something like that. And so, obviously, whoever was wrapped up in that sheet meant something to Carol. So I don't know if that was Beth or if it was... Maybe it was Noah, the young man who escaped.
And it's
but he's
kind of
really,
Noah.
you're right, because he's really tall. Yeah, he's really tall.
But that is the question: is that Beth?
Yeah.
And so we come up now to a couple of questions or some observations that I've found out from watching all the different reviewers and so forth. We're talking about how Abraham went apeshit on these dudes. And this isn't really a spoiler, but this is information from the comic book, and that is that those guys in the supermarket raped both the wife and the daughter, and they made the boy watch.
Or maybe they raped the son too.
No, in the comic they made the boy watch.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
But here's the thing is that are we gonna get any more backstory on Abraham?
Well,
and two, does he have PTSD? Because let me first of all, maybe they were having marital problems because he was having PTSD and losing his temper and all that. And then when shit hits the fan and he has to defend them, she saw that the stuff that they maybe have argued about, and he lost his cool and didn't hit her. Everybody's thinking that he hit her because she had a black eye.
Yeah.
But I think it's because she got fucking raped.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
So
100%.
I'm not really sure if we're gonna find out about Abraham, but I don't think he hit her. But at the same time, I think that she was afraid that he might go like this, and she saw it.
Yeah.
And couldn't process it because she still doesn't realize it's fucking zombie apocalypse.
Right, and ultimately, exactly, she was just the kind of person that wasn't going to make it. Yeah. When she saw her husband become a killer, and he was in the army, so as far as, and he said he saw action, so you have to assume, or she would have to assume, he's probably killed people in the line of duty. Yeah. But when the realization comes home, when she sees it firsthand, my husband's a killer. Yeah. This husband who I have been maybe afraid of, maybe he has swung at me, maybe he hasn't, whatever, who knows. But when that time comes and you say, oh God, my husband is a killer, and your immediate next thought is not, thank goodness, because we're in the middle of the zombie apocalypse and I need a killer, then you're the kind of person that's not going to make it.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. So, and her reaction was very first world, very, oh my God, I have to get my children away from this killer. Yep. And inevitably what she ends up doing is killing her children.
Yeah, pretty much.
So,
she caused their deaths indirectly.
Sorry, I went off on that. Sorry.
So here's the next question. Who is T. Brooks Ellis? Because I did some cursory research and I didn't find anything. Yeah. And Meat Pie went a little bit further. Yeah, I thought, I was wrong. I thought that T. Brooks Ellis was actually a real person. The name sounded familiar, but it was just my brain making a connection. So, all the research I did, it shows that he's just a made-up character. Once again. In the world of The Walking Dead, T. Brooks Ellis is apparently the head of the director of the Human Genome Project, but that is not actually the name of the director of the Human Genome Project in the real world, so it's just a Walking Dead thing. We've got the fact that I addressed Abraham and his hand wound, and I was like thinking that it was going to become something down the road, but Meat Pie had another theory, and that was I thought it was more of like the metaphor for reopening old wounds, because the hand it shows like when he was the original scene, the scene in the flashback where he's killing the dude with the can, and that was when that's the first wound that he got on the hand, and that healed up, and so it was just the metaphor of reopening this reopening this old wound. He keeps tearing open this old wound every time he think about this, shoves all that down. Whenever he does reopen the wound, what is happening? He's flashing back. He's committing an act of violence. Well, right, okay, yeah. So think about it. Every time he commits an act of violence, it opens not only his Walker's apocalypse wounds, but his PTSD from the war wounds. So he's getting the double whammy here. Or even this guy very well may have like double PTSD. Well, that's what I was saying. Like he has maybe he had PTSD from the war, maybe he didn't. But Jesus, does he have PTSD from the horrific things that happened to his wife and children? Yep. So this guy's just a bag of psychology. All right, we're going to come up to the part where I am reviewing the reviewers that I watched over the week, and the first person is not a reviewer, it's a guy that contributes, Olivella, who's in the comments of the last couple of episodes, and I brought up the instance of when we come to what I assume was a cattle ranch, and the question of, do walkers go after animals? And there are two instances that we've seen where walkers actually ate animals. First one is when Rick is in Atlanta and he's on the horse. And then two is where Herschel and family were feeding the walkers that they were keeping in the barn. Right. So Olivella also suggested that they used a dog to attract walkers to the mortuary in order to, get the walkers to ambush Beth and Daryl. Oh, okay. Like staked him out for bait? Yeah. I don't remember that. Well, no, the dog walked up to the door. Oh, gotcha. Okay. So, Olivella also suggested something, and that is, in addition to the ground up glass in the gas tank, that when they first see the group, that Eugene accidentally shoots up the gas tank on the truck, and he suggests that maybe Eugene actually did that on purpose in order to slow the group down. Yeah, on the actor in an interview on The Talking Dead, the actor believes that yes, it was absolutely done on purpose. That he was like, of course, I'm trying to slow down this train that's moving further and further towards DC. So from the actor's point of view, absolutely, Eugene shot the gas tank on purpose. So now you have to factor that into also how you feel about Eugene in like, wow, not only has he been lying about that, but he's been actively playing this role of inept to the point of putting people in danger and people dying. And so it goes beyond just
yeah, people die in the course of the zombie apocalypse. Now it's like your not just your passive lie, but your active actions
Well,
are causing people's death.
Here's the deal: if he wakes up,
if he regains consciousness.
Here's a prediction that I have is that once if Abraham gets over this whole deception thing, I predict that Eugene is first of all, he's going to have to step up and start killing walkers with his own hands. And two, he is going to become the MacGyver of the group.
Right.
Whenever they need to set something on fire with a oh, by the way, let's address that.
Yes.
Okay. Meat Pie did some research into the thing with the battery, and tell us what you found.
So a lot of people, it's commonly referred to as a prison battery. Apparently this happens in the correctional institutions around the country and around the world. You just take a strip of aluminum foil or any kind of little metal, and most gum wrappers, Wrigley's and stuff like that have actually metal foil on the back.
Well, let me stop you there. Not very many of them, because the gum companies are getting cheap.
Well, true.
Big Red used to have foil. Big Red don't have no foil anymore.
Right.
Shame on you, Big Red.
So, and most of the ones that do have foil have paper on the other side.
Exactly.
And so you have to make sure you fold it in half so that it's foil on both sides, and then you just make sure that you're holding both ends to the negative and the positive, and it'll heat up real quick and make a fire. And you can light your cigarette or light your fire or light a smaller piece of paper to make whatever.
Yeah. You could cauterize
a wound, whatever.
Cauterize Abraham's nutsack.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, I don't know why the hell I am so obsessed with Abraham's nutsack, but I brought it up like 3 times.
Dolphin smooth.
Yes. So, okay, here comes another one of our people that I reviewed, and that is Hotel Angel. Now, he brought up the fact that when Tara came in, they were insinuating with, sideways glances and shit like that Tara was going to try to drive a wedge between Maggie and Glenn. But it appears that, they flat out have adopted her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's the puppet dog. She's their new little thing to take care of.
Well, and so what do you think? What do you think her role is going to be? You think she's just going to be there to be the next person to die? Because that's what everybody was predicting when she started playing puppy dog to Glenn, is that she's there so that she can.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what she's there for.
She just needs to start wearing red shirts,
because
she's going to be the
however,
one that dies
let's bring
on the
this
away
up.
team.
But this is the other thing, though. She's also there to bring Eugene in closer, because nobody else is really showing as much of a connection with Eugene.
One of the things I thought when that scene where they're behind the self-help section and he's watching them and she walks up to him, if she wasn't a lesbian, she would have thrown him a pity fuck right there.
Yeah,
that would have been.
That's the thing is
that would have been been the moment.
Here's a question now: Walker Apocalypse. Does that cause you? Because think about it, in society, there's a million choices.
Oh yeah,
but Walker Apocalypse, you can't choose your friends anymore. You just choose the people who don't fucking kill you.
Right?
Right? Who's to say that I'm not going to go into.
Oh boy, here we go. We're going to get in trouble on
lesbians,
this. On the fence lesbians.
Yes,
okay.
But who's to say?
Wow,
that doesn't happen. So let's move on, shall we?
Opinions.
We've got Hotel Angel also brought up something that I was talking about, and that is, God damn, could you turn the lights up just a tad? I mean, it's really hard to see the dark scenes, and I thought it was because I watch on streaming, but Hotel Angel is like, we can sacrifice a little bit of realism.
Yeah.
I realized that it's night, and there ain't no electricity, and there ain't no light shining through that window over there. It's just what you got there, but at the same time, can we sacrifice a little bit of realism for clarity?
I don't know. I guess it just depends on where you're watching it, because when I watch it, I don't have those problems.
Yeah.
So hopefully next weekend when we watch it in my place, we won't have those issues.
Yeah. So here's some other notable YouTubers. There's Jim's Nerd Nation.
Okay.
I liked Los Lobos Negros.
Okay.
And last week I forgot to mention Wags My Tag. I went in and I haven't seen his episode 5 review yet, but I forgot to mention him last week. So here's a couple of things that everybody has said. And I watched Behind the Mask, and they talk about this because they're the guys that are all like jaded,
right?
And they're like, "Come on, let's step this up." You know? Here's the two things that everybody talks about here, and one is that they're getting sick of these single focus episodes, and they're saying that you could have taken the hospital, which is a prison,
right,
and merged it with this episode and done a half and half and gotten the point across. In theory, and when you're thinking about it, it's one thing, but stuffing all of those 2 episodes into one episode, that would be, I would say, at an average, maybe an hour and a half, and at the least an hour and 15 minutes, because you still have a lot of stuff that's in there.
Yeah, you can't lose all of that. I mean, you have to have it, absolutely. Maybe you could trim off, like you said, like 20 minutes off the Rictatorship episode. But, but the other one, not the other one. The Beth episode, you needed just about everything that was in there.
Well, yeah. Well, then there's the people that bring up the Beth and Daryl drinking in the house episode, and that doesn't count because that was for the female FAP audience. That was I said it back at that time when that episode came out. I was like, this is for all of the girls that have Daryl posters all over their walls,
right?
So that doesn't count. But me personally, I really don't care. I like every episode. Of course, there's the ones that stick out the most because you remember the episode where Herschel got his head chopped off, but you don't remember the episode where something minor happened and they did some exposition and somebody, things went in and out.
Right.
But it's necessary because
100%.
You can't just get, zombie fight from start to finish every fucking episode.
Well, no, it's a drama. It's not an action movie.
Exactly.
It's a drama, so you need the drama, and you have. Unfortunately, sometimes people have to. Yeah, people have to talk for the drama.
Well, and the other thing is that people are bringing up the fact that it's also made for binge watching.
Yeah, totally.
And when you're binge watching, 2 episodes isn't really that much.
No.
So, yeah. And let's see. I believe that's everything for this episode.
Okay.
The predictions are... Oh, by the way, his prediction is that Noah... What's your prediction about Noah?
So I think that the story that Noah tells about his uncle, I think that the uncle is... I can't remember, what's his name? The guy from the very beginning. Morgan
Jones.
Morgan. Okay, I think Noah is Morgan's nephew. I think Morgan is Noah's uncle. And I think that the 2 of them are going to finally hook up before either of them die.
Okay, and this is actually a bridge to another prediction, and that is Noah said that they came to Atlanta. Him and his father came to Atlanta to find his uncle, and uncle is Morgan Jones. But what I don't think anybody has said anything yet about what Noah said, and that is Richmond, Virginia's got walls. So I think that if they abandon Atlanta, that they'll head for Richmond.
Maybe.
And Richmond might be a stopping point because they still might have the idea that DC is the best place to go because of the infrastructure of the U.S. government. However, we're talking about the U.S. government.
Right.
So I imagine that, when you get to D.C. and you're like, oh my God, U.S. government.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Because I almost fell over the table there. Because a bunch of fucking selfish-ass congressmen are holed up in there.
Yeah.
And they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about us now. I think they'll give a fuck about us afterwards.
They're all zombies already. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Oh, wow. How ironic. All right. So we are going to wrap this up, and we'll see you Sunday night.
All right.
We're going to do a Google Live Hangout from Casa de Meat Pie.
Right on.
And please feel free to join in. I'm gonna try to do a dry run, maybe open up a forum, see if we can have some people come in on that. And then I don't know if I will do a reaction review edited version. I don't think there's any need for it. We'll see what happens. No telling. But yeah, until then, I'm Rockula.
I'm Meat Pie.
And this is Rockula Retrospective.